we're talking like this morning, you know?
We just chat and catching up.
Yeah. And
questions.
Yeah. And it's all about the raw being authentic. So that's why we are formatting in that way. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We are on episode 8. And just FYI, we do meditations every week. And we also host workshops once a month. And we have one coming up this Tuesday. So check out our website, selfupexodus.com, for more info on that. We hope to see you very, very, very soon. So we're going to start. I believe, I always forget.
I think I asked you first.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, you have a better memory of that. So, okay, so it's your turn to answer. Okay. So it is inspired from our workshop that's coming up. It's called Safety in the Self. And so what I would like to know about you is, in your past, like what stands out to you the most when you didn't feel safe? And so with that, like your journey now, like how did you go from not feeling safe? Because I feel like a lot of times we are unknowingly knowing that we are in a situation that's unsafe. Mm-hmm. And then how do you feel, what helps you feel safe today? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like bringing up the unsafety memories of you or your experiences, and then like, well, today, you know, like what tools are you using to help yourself feel safe?
Yeah.
So we carry on that feeling. We don't know it, and then we're like, oh, and the trauma or like pain. So yeah, that's my question to you.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And I feel like that my answer to this question feels like different today than it would have been last week. You know, like this is a very evolving experience.
Because you're fucking doing the work, dude. You know? So that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the main thing is that I think that my old answer would have been that I was putting myself in unsafe situations in order to be loved, or in order to have desire, or in order to feel connected, right? I was putting myself in unsafe situations. But my new answer is that the situations were all neutral. The situations weren't necessarily safe or unsafe. It's that I was in the situations seeking something, seeking safety, which you can't get externally. You truly can't get. You can get it temporarily externally. You can get a fix, you know, but you always return back to, okay, here I am by myself. Okay, what do I do? Or this person isn't being how I need them to be in order for me to feel safe. Now I feel unsafe, right? Which isn't the other person's problem, responsibility, right?
Totally.
So now it's more like the thing that I have been working on so much in my life is to enjoy connection for what it is, be with it, be present with it, but not need a specific connection to give me my sense of inner security.
Yes.
And so I can still, and like I've been telling you, like I'm actually in a connection right now that I was in a year ago that made me feel unsafe, and I was doing the whole "this connection is unsafe" thing.
Yeah.
Can't be in this connection. And now I'm like in this connection again and changing my own behaviors.
Wow.
And changing my own perceptions and changing my whole approach. So, which is teaching me that it's not necessarily about the connection being safe or unsafe. It's about how I approach the connection.
Right? And it's all different.
It's all different.
Wow.
But the thing is, like, I have to encounter my feeling of, like, that squeamish feeling. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's going to be there. It's, like, part of the, like, what you said.
This is what makes us human. And we have our past pains from not feeling safe, right? So that's going to come along for the ride. I mean,
it's all going to be there. It's like the flare-ups are going to be there. So I'm still getting flare-ups, but I'm not acting on the flare. I'm not trying to get the flare-ups met by the other.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference is like, okay, this is my flare-up.
Mine.
Mine to work
I'm
with.
feeling it. Yeah.
And if I want to actually do something that can help me in this, then like, let me keep this in my realm of control. Which is like not depending on another person to fix this. You know?
So when you feel the flare up, and let's just say, okay, you know that that's something that you need to work on because you're recognizing it's your flare ups. Like, how do you spend time with you to feel safe? Like, what are some tools and some experiences that you've had by yourself when you're like, oh, I'm safe. I feel I'm cultivating safety right now. Yeah.
Well, first I have to remember, every time, it's so funny. Every time I have to remember to be like, okay, this is mine to do for me. So there's this pause. There's this pause of like, okay, I'm feeling the anxiety.
Gotta be aware.
Yes, awareness. So then what is the need here? What am I wanting? What am I desiring? What am I craving? Like, I'm desiring validation. I'm desiring contact. I'm desiring connection, you know? Okay, good information.
Thank you.
Thank you. What would it be like to give myself that right now?
Beautiful.
How can I validate myself right now? So sometimes it's like literally just talking to myself. Other times it's like, I need contact. I will like put my hands on myself, you know. Sometimes it's like I need stimulation. It's like, oh, I need to get out of the house and go be around people.
Yeah.
You know, I need distraction. I need to not just be in my head. So it's like, yeah, it's really that awareness piece. It's the checking in.
Yeah.
Identifying what is needed and then giving it to yourself. And then the other thing that I do is like, I do have a lot of safe connections that I can really rely on. So it's like
safe people.
Hit up a homie that is happy to come through for you and see if they're available. And like spend time. If you're craving connection and you want it to be coming from over here, but that's not available, then like get it from somewhere else. Like get that need met.
Right. And I like how you go through these steps, right? And then you make the adjustment.
Yeah.
You know where to go, where you can feel safe. And like now you experience that for yourself. I experience safety with myself or with myself with others. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for asking.
We can all relate with that.
Yes.
And I love how you're highlighting, like, you're identifying the situations. It wasn't safe or unsafe. It's like all rooted with like your safetiness, like within yourself. Because they're going to be who they are.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's interesting how you talk about this connection. You're having a different experience. Like you're still being challenged, but you're having this whole complete like awareness and process with the flare-ups that's coming from before, but you're approaching it from a different space where you're like, that they're not responsible for me. Like for me to feel total safe in the ways that I want it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and then it's also like this question of like, what am I trying to get from this connection?
Oh, and that's a great question.
What am I trying to get here?
Are you trying to get, or are you just trying to like really truly be present and hang out?
Yes.
And like appreciate them and learn about them.
And then it's also like what we did in meditation today, where you swap out your agenda for the divine agenda. It's like there's a reason why we have connections with certain people, and like why there's like certain sparks with certain people.
Totally.
Because there's a learning there. There's something to do together.
And you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. You know, it's arrived.
Yeah. But you don't always. It's not up to you to decide what that relationship is about, because there's a higher order to the relationship. And so the like surrendering to the divine agenda, the like, I don't know if we're supposed to be intimate partners. I don't know if we're supposed to be really good friends. I don't know if we're supposed to be friends for like literally a season and then we're going to be complete. Like it's really not up to me to decide what any of my relationship configurations are. There is like a divine order to that shit. And once I bring that in and remember that, then I can like let go of feeling like I have something to control in the dynamic. And then it's the like, let me just curiously witness the way that this is playing out. It's so interesting.
So great. Like a lot of like practicing, and you talk about this a lot, like trusting in the universe, trusting in the divine, like just so much surrendering and trusting.
Yeah.
With that. It's a life-changing practice. Because like what you mentioned in our meditation earlier, when we do seek and we're really imposing like where we want to control the outcome or whatnot, we create more stress within ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
So it's such a great practice.
That which we seek, we push away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
All
Are you
right.
ready
I'm
for
ready. I'm
Want to
ready.
become famous?
Yeah, that's a spam comment.
Okay, so earlier we were talking about boundaries.
Yes.
Earlier in our conversation. So
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I kind of have a fill in the blank for you.
Okay.
And you might have to like process out loud to figure it out.
Yeah,
It's
I'll cross out
gonna
loud.
take you a little
Take y'all on my brain's journey.
So when it comes to blank, I have a non-negotiable boundary,
Oh.
which is blank.
Oh yeah, there's one in particular. It's just jumping out from the
Okay,
waters.
cool.
It's judgment.
Mm.
So okay, wait. When it comes to, I'll say unfair judgment.
Mm.
Unfair judgment. Wait, it's non-negotiable?
So when it comes to blank, like meaning like in this situation
Mm-hmm.
or in these conditions, I have a non-negotiable boundary,
Mm-hmm.
which is this.
Mm-hmm. So would it make sense for me to say when it comes from a situation where I feel like I'm being judged and criticized, it is non-negotiable for me because it's judgment.
Okay.
Like, give me an example. Yeah, give
Yeah.
me the example.
Maybe it's like when it comes to
Experiencing something, or when it comes to
so like okay, so I guess this is my question. So if you're feeling judged,
yes,
which you have no control over, right?
yes.
So that's outside of your control.
Mhm.
What is your boundary though that you have to protect yourself? So when it comes to feeling judged,
yes,
my non-negotiable boundary is
would it be trying to understand? So would it be safety?
well, it would be like removing myself from the situation, or like how do you protect yourself from excepting judgment projections?
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, I understand the question
Okay.
now. Okay. Yeah, when you frame it like that, I can understand it more. So it's almost like when this happens, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like my boundary
That's
like
your
that. When
boundary.
I feel basically unsafe or like judged, what I do is, well, one, being aware that that's happening, and two, knowing that I need to go to my safe space.
Mm-hmm.
So there are scenarios with family where, we're in the house, we're at a family event. So right when I feel it, because I've processed this before, so there's kind of some preventative work of like the self-love work of continuing to visit the trigger. Like when I'm feeling judged, I visit my own judgments of myself. Yeah. So there's a lot of like pre-work to really help you on the spot when it's happening on the spot.
Yeah.
So the pre-work is like constantly looking at like what your triggers are when it comes to like being judged, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then taking a look at myself, like, okay, is there a part of me that's judging myself for that?
Yeah.
And so like I've like dove deep into like understanding like why is that triggering for me, and then understanding where they're coming from of what that might be coming from. So I just have this full understanding so that when I'm in a situation where it's happening again, I'm like, I have processed this. I know that a lot of it is projection. And so I just know that I need to go to my own safe space. Mm-hmm. So I'll excuse myself early from the event at the house, and I'll literally go to my room. Well, yeah, I mentioned this before. I'll go to my room, and then like I will cultivate safety for myself. Like I will comfort myself. But if it's out here, easy. I'm like, I don't feel safe. I'm feeling judgment or feeling some kind of projection onto me. I know that I need to go to my safe space.
Yeah.
So it can look like, okay, I'm not going to stay here that much longer, Mm-hmm. And I'm totally allowed to excuse myself and leave. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do when like I'm experiencing my boundaries being crossed, you know. Sometimes I'll even challenge myself. I'm like, ooh, let me dig in a little deeper to see if I can hold space for them, because they're obviously like going through something like that, you know. It just really depends. But when I feel like a very strong, like straight up projection or like judgment, like I know I need to like remove myself and get to my safe space.
Do you ever, when you do that check-in part about, am I judging myself about this? Do you ever find that you're not?
That's a really great question. I want to say yes, actually, because when we are healing the parts of ourselves that are judging and being hard on ourselves, right? Because there were times where I'm still feeling good about myself, but then I can see that they're projecting something. Mm-hmm. It doesn't affect me as much now. So when I find that like, oh, I'm not finding that judgment with myself, mm-hmm. I tend to be less affected. Yeah. If that is coming through. Yeah. I seem to be able to like, oh, they're going through something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see you, you know, and I'll move accordingly. You know, sometimes I still
doesn't feel good, but it's like less of a.
You're like, oh, because you can feel it, right? You're like, oh, yeah. You're like, oh, they're having a day. You know, oh, stay away. Like my thought is, oh, stay away from that one. Mm-hmm. You know, like, ooh, like anything to trigger them at this point if they're like already like lashing out or saying something judgmental. Yeah, and sometimes it might not be judgment towards me, but they're just like judging somebody else, and I'm feeling judgment happening. So catching that too, I'm like, ooh, okay. See, and that's another way to protect yourself too, right? They may not be obviously expressing judgment towards you, but they're expressing judgment to like someone else. So you're like, oh, okay, you know, yeah, just like being aware.
Okay, what would you say is the difference between processing, processing versus judging?
Yes. So I would say when you're processing, you're actually like speaking about your experience, which you're totally allowed to have, and then you are like having that experience be a healing thing for you. You know, you're processing to get to an answer to help you grow. Yeah. Right? I think of judgment as like complaining and not doing anything about it. You know what I'm saying? You're just going on a rage chunk of shit. Like you're sitting there. Like I could sit here and just like talk mad shit about like one of my family members, but then I'm not processing. Yeah. So there's no processing involved, but it's just straight up judgment, and then like that's it.
Would you say that processing involves like bringing yourself into the equation?
Oh yeah, because how is it for you? Like this is obviously affecting you. Why is it affecting you so much? Like how is this like information? Like it's almost like if there's no growth involved, you know, now you're just like sitting into like negative vibes, and you're just like you're just not doing, you know. Yeah. There's no goodness coming from it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like if I'm like I get triggered by stuff, and I talk to you about this all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm just like that. Like I don't feel like I'm talking shit because I'm processing with a safe friend. Yeah. And I'm open to how this is for me and how it can like what can I learn from this? Yeah. To better my lifestyle. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm just not going to complain, and now I'm judging them by their hair, or judging them by how they do their freaking nails, or judging them by how they dress or how they look. You know, I'm not gonna see. That's when you can feel like, okay, you're like going everywhere with this. Yeah, but there's no moving forward. Yeah, I would say that's such a good. I asked myself that too. You know, it's like, wait, are we talking shit right now? Or
I know, because I have to ask myself this all the time, because like people, including ourselves, we're just like such surprising creatures. So we're always like doing some shit that like, you know, it's like, oh wow, that was out of left field. Okay, like I have to talk about that actually, because I have to figure out like how I fit into that equation, and if that's actually okay for me, and you know, all of these things where I notice that with my community, with my like core community, I have to talk about people. Yeah. But I really am so like, but I really don't want to be doing it in a way that is like classified as like
I hear you. I feel
Gossip or shit
that,
talking.
there we go. Yeah. And then, yeah. I've experienced straight up judgment from people and like gossipy, you know, because they're just like complaining. They're just like making statements like out of nowhere about someone that they have no clue about, right? And there's no like, see, there's just, yeah, you know, it's straight up judgment and talking shit when there's no processing. Yeah, it's in the category of like complaining and like just projecting to the max. There we go. That's such a great one.
Yeah.
That's a really great,
it's a good,
great question.
Distinction.
Yeah. You know, we're fucking human, you know, too. We might have moments where we're just like, we need to vent. And then we have the space to process, you know? We're fucking human. Yeah.
We need to get things out of us.
Yes, we do. Regardless, we do. And then the after part, it's up to them.
Yeah.
Okay, you got it out. You just want to stay in that, or are we actually going to do something with that? See, that's up to the individual. Yeah. Whether they feel ready for, open to, closed to. That's such a good one. Yeah. Cool. Oh, Susan. Hi, Susan. Susan says, my comfort. Susan says, I'm more judgmental on my situations than others are. My inner child still believes she's unlovable. Yes. And Susan, that's why you're on this journey. Like you're so aware and you've been showing up for yourself. And I always say this is a lifelong journey, you know, and it's a lot of visiting the inner child or the inner, like the earliest memory that you have when you started experiencing pain, like that person, like that's who are visiting, that's who we see that needs the healing, you know? Completely. So lifelong journey. And we're learning all this for the first time and, you know, so much freaking deprogramming and reconditioning, reparenting ourselves. Thank you for sharing that, Susan. Like, I feel that. And I'm reminded of like your poem that you shared last one. So good. Amazing. We're excited to see you this Tuesday as we're doing another creative workshop, and then we can do safety in the self, Susan. Thanks for sharing, Susan. Yeah.
This other one. I feel like I need help with this question. It seems to me that more and more people think up more and more judgments on me from strangers, church, or family. I started believing it all. All of it couldn't be true.
Right? So, right, like, that's the question. Is this really true or not? And this is why when we go back to the individual, you know, like, yeah, all these people make these judgments about you. And a lot of times we will, internalize that, and we will believe it. Mm-hmm. But see, you're starting to question, all of it can't be true. Right, you're absolutely right. They all can't be true. So my question back to you, Jason, is the things that people are saying, you know, the parts of you that feels that it could be true, like where does that even come from? Right? Like what is it bringing up? Like let's just say they are saying you're, I don't know, that you're something blank. When did you experiencing feeling that? You know, maybe they can be bringing up something that you are already feeling about yourself if you're believing it. Right? And most of the time it's something that we absorb from when we were way younger.
Definitely. And we talk about all the time, like how self-love is the solution to every problem, right? So if the problem is that you're experiencing a lot of like external judgment coming at you, like that's probably is mirroring to you kind of what's happening within yourself, which is the wounding that you received as a small child. Mm-hmm. And so then that's what needs attention. It's like actually all the places that you're feeling judged are like doorways that are being opened for you to give more acceptance to yourself right in that place, right in that place over and over and over again. And when you do that, then you're no longer so vulnerable to being judged by others because it's just like not an open wound anymore. It's like you kind of fill it in for yourself.
Yeah. And what's coming up for me is like, you know, I was like really believing what, you know, my siblings would say about me, and that like, you know, what they displayed to me is that like, I'm just like a horrible sister, you know, like I'm just failing. And there's a part of me that really, really believes that, and also acknowledging their pains of why they're saying that. And as I'm healing, I'm like, okay, I admit that there were actions, a lot of actions in the past that I did, that did display that, right? And my healing work is, what am I going to do about it today? Like, I know that's not me 1,000%. I'm the version of where I'm seeing the most growth in right now. And so now I'm healing from that and really like transforming myself and not letting that be my forever. Like, I'm just going to be forever be that identity.
Yeah.
Even though like they may still see me that way, for an example, and so when we recognize and we forgive ourselves, like this is my situation, right? I'm able to not take that hit and believe it 100%. Because I know, and I'm witnessing myself transforming. Just because they don't see it yet, that's okay. That I know that's hard. So that's why I need to go to my safe space and practice my self-love and give myself the love that I need. But it starts affecting you less because you're proving it to yourself that that's not true. Like, I know I'm a good person. I've been doing a lot of good. Look at what I did for myself. Like, I know, like, I've been kind to people. So it's like, that helps.
And like checking the sources. Like, if I'm feeling judged by a person who can witness objectively has a judgmental orientation with life in general, then it's like, all right, they just like are operating from the lens of judgment, So like they're judging everyone, they're judging everything, and I'm part of that. Versus like if I felt judged by you, that would hit in a different way because you're not a judgy person. So I would actually be like, okay, wait a minute. Like, I gotta like really be with this one, and really reflect with this one versus like some other people in my life that are just kind of like cast in judgment a lot.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, all right, well, I don't need to take that on. Like really checking in with the sources, like, are the judgments coming from people that you love and trust and respect, or are they coming from sources that are like blanket judgers,
Yeah, like very surfacey, right? Like you said, strangers. Let's see.
Church.
Yeah, more people. Yeah. So some reflective questions here, Jason. And definitely sounds like there's some hurt. There's some hurt, and that hurt needs to be, addressed and be processed and healed, for sure. So thank you for sharing. Okie dokies, everybody. I believe that's our show today. Thank you all for watching. We're here every Saturday at 11. If you would like to hang out with us beforehand, we do meditation at 10 a.m. And we do deeper work in our 2-hour workshop. So that's coming up this Tuesday. So we hope to see you there. And I believe that's it.
Adios, amigos.
All righty. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.